It's our differences that drive us wild. In fact, it's our differences that cause us to split or divorce or, just to say we simply can't date this kind of person. One of the biggest problems that I see in my office is when one of the partners has a different way of controlling than the other one, and they react to each other's. There's a lot of theories that say, in a way, we co-create the chaos we're in. And that's true. When you're dating, you're sending out vibes and you attract certain people to you. And one of the primary attractions is when somebody messy or just going through life with blinders on, or I don't know what you call it. It's more laid back than be about getting things done, marries a micromanager. And now there's varying degrees of micromanagers. Some are abusive, and that would be totally unacceptable. And then there's ones like many of us, maybe you're even one, that are just more needing to be in control, needs to have things structured. And not only do we structure for ourselves, but we structure for the one we love. We're their little helper. And so I'm going to go through a list of things that if you are so at the end of your rope with your micromanager partner, you can evaluate these things, because I think it's really important that you understand how the two of you got together, because there is an incredible attraction between these two types, because the micromanager needs to take care or manage someone, and the one who needs to be managed needs help structuring and organizing and making those contacts. So here is my list, and just go through this, find yourself, find your partner. It's important to healing your relationship. The first one, before reacting to your partner's control, take a few seconds to consider whether they're offering good advice. Yes, you may be at the end of your rope, but remember, their total mission was in the beginning to be your helper. And so sometimes you help so much that it's not helpful, but parts of that are good. And I think that's important to remind them the parts that are good. Secondly, consider your partner may be somewhat obsessive compulsive. If your partner excels in other areas of their work outside the home, there is a good chance that they're obsessive compulsive. Do they like their towel in a particular way? Do they like their napkin at the place setting, placed in a certain place? The knife, the fork, the spoon, or the chopsticks? Are you noticing little things that seem to really put them on edge if they're not in order? That's one of the signs of a micromanager. And it may not just be you. It may be, okay, this person needs this structure. Was your partner the caretaker in the family? In many families, big families, there's one person who is the ultimate caretaker. And in my family of origin, I was that person. And guess what? Yes, I like things structured. I like them neat. And I did marry someone who is not as much that way, thank God. You begin setting boundaries for your partner. Like, is your partner setting boundaries for you? Now, that's one area that I think you may want to discuss, and you may want to talk about it. And you may want to put your foot down and say, no, this is my boundary. I mean, I think when couples work together on what their boundaries are, there's less conflict and there's bound to be more understanding of each other. So if your partner is trying to make more boundaries or create boundaries for you, this is a place you must interact and proceed. If you have different timetables, that's a real problem. And most couples do. And this is where I see a lot of problems. So the one who is more structured and compulsive says, let's do this. And when they say, let's get this done, that means they want this done today. And the partner won't tell them directly, listen, I love you and I understand what you're after, but this is not okay. I will get it done, but it won't be today. Instead, they purposely procrastinate. because they're angry and it's a passive aggressive move. This is not okay, and it's going to cause more problems. You want to initiate and directly say, I'm going to get it done. I hear you and I will do it, but it is not going to be at this time that they want it done. Just tell them, I really appreciate it, but I'm going to just let me do it. And then your partner, that's going to relieve them. They mainly want you to note it, that so they know you are aware. If they're, as I said, if they are good with something, you really want to praise them, because they do need that, because they're working hard to help you. And so you want to make sure that you are appreciative when and if you can be. Accept the fact that you chose a micromanager. And that's what I was alluding to in the beginner. Just as when your micromanager gets really so frustrated and go, I am like, I have a kid instead of a partner, you have to remember that this is your overcompensation. And you did not marry a child. You married someone who you could help, who you could basically manage. And so it's time for the micromanager to step back and think about this. Does this person you're married to trigger a very sensitive, hurtful issue from your past? Maybe this person triggers ways that your mother manipulated you or controlled you with her management. That's a different thing than just being married to a micromanager or a helper, unless it's abusive. So you want to be very clear about that, and discussing that with your partner can really help them come more toward the middle and be more understanding of how their insistence of managing you is really hurting them from past old triggers. And if you're growing increasingly annoyed, and you feel like you can't take it anymore, that would be a time for therapy. Or if this is a new relationship and you can see that you helped choose someone who was too micromanaging, or maybe even micromanaging in a harmful way for your growth, that would be when you said, you know what, I can't do this. But that doesn't mean you're passive aggressive about it. That means you sit down with them and you discuss it. And if they feel like they can work with you and therapy would help, I would say go for that. But if it's outrageous, if this person is just calloused and abusive, then just get out, because it's going to do you the best in the long run.